Aries Scarlet, 500 views on my last video. I have been paying attention. Wow, I actually have some subscribers. Alright, so I will definitely be back to power scaling Fairy Tail. It's just that I'm taking a break right now. This seems to be one of the things that needs to be said more so than any other power scale that I've come across thus far, because everybody loves to underestimate the little blue guy. So let's ask the age-old question. How fast is Sonic really? Well, it's clear in Sonic Generations that Sonic is way faster than he was when he was just a kid. The proof is when he beat Chaos in his base form when he needed to go Supersonic to do it back in Sonic Adventure 1. This question actually inspires tons and tons of skeptical statements. Only sound speed, the speed's limitless. I'm going to put something into perspective here. The speed that we're actually dealing with when we talk about Sonic. No Archie Sonic, RIP, just base canon Sonic. A lot of people complain that Archie Sonic is too OP, and he does actually make people lose focus on base canon Sonic a lot. So we're just going to be sticking with him. No doubt that his two biggest downplays come from when people say that he's just a 3-foot tall fucking hedgehog, or the more understandable but still just as annoying a cop-out is the game mechanics being put into play to determine his durability of all things. When playing a video game storyline where literally any enemy in the game, no matter what tier they're on, can kill your character, generally speaking, you're supposed to assume the storyline happened as if the player ran through and got a perfect score on each stage. That is, if a perfect score is actually attainable. Yet people bring up Crisis City or the Badniks as actual legit threats. What are his greatest feats? I got one that everybody counts as unquantifiable. You know the one. One thing is clear. He fixed all of time and space by just running, bringing back color and life to everything, in a dead limbo universe covered in what is only known as white space. He literally used his speed to give everything the energy to move again. Everything within space itself was revived, literally giving its life back. Now, giving something the energy to move counts as giving it kinetic energy, since movement energy actually is kinetic energy. That's the direct translation and definition. So, the formula for kinetic energy is right here, and this is not just an Earth feat because the sky was blank, which means that even the far reaches of outer space are also within this void. Time and space is a universal feat, at least multi-galaxy level, because the human eye is actually able to view other galaxies without a telescope from the ground, implying these galaxies have also been halted with their power snuffed out. Meaning he brought them back too. Most of these things he's giving speed back to don't just have kinetic energy, they also have a rotational kinetic energy that defines the sum of most of their speeds. How much speed does it take to bring back all speeds within the flow of time and space? I can easily see how people would say this is an unquantifiable feat, but what I don't get is how people still think Sonic is slow after pulling off something like this with just his speed. After literally having enough speed to restart the universe, like, hey universe, I see you looking kinda pale and immobile over here, but that's okay, I got enough speed for the both of us. And there's absolutely no sign of this feat slowing him down in the slightest, implying he can most likely do it again if he wanted to. He didn't break one sweat. More proof of this lies in the fact that classic Sonic's young ass can keep up with him with no difficulty. This brings a whole nother element into it that I don't even have time to get into because it involves making assumptions about the gap between classic Sonic and modern Sonic's speed, which we all know is a huge fucking gap. He can't boost, homing attack, or light speed dash. He is massively slower. So let's discuss this universe revival feat. So a universe revival through kinetic energy would obviously be unquantifiable if you're trying to record any and everything that happened. The reason for that would be simply because the universe is still not all seen. Like when people talk about the universe, they discuss the known universe, because there are still parts of the universe that we have not seen, therefore we don't know its limits. However, the ground that we can actually see that was covered still counts. And if any other ground was covered outside of the ground that we have actually been able to record, then that would actually make Sonic faster. I see no problem with lowballing his speed to be able to support and revive the whole known universe at least. And I don't even have those calculations. I don't have the calculations for all of the known universe. I just have certain calculations for certain parts of the universe. So even still, this is all going to be lowballed because Sonic has done more. Another thing you need to understand about the universe revival feat is that Sonic thought it was just another adventure. He didn't even realize what he was doing while he was saving people. So the energy he was putting out wasn't going to just where he was preferring it to go or the things that he was touching. He was radiating enough kinetic energy for the entire universe to be affected by just his running straight forward. To quote him, he says, "We better run like there's no tomorrow or there won't be a tomorrow." That's because this started on his birthday and it ended on his birthday, which means this feat took place within a day's time or less. And don't even get me started on how fast that energy would have to travel to each corner of the universe in less than a day. The Andromeda Galaxy alone is over 2.5 million light years away. More literally, if he was only sending kinetic energy in that specific direction, he'd be sending it over 14 quintillion miles away in just a matter of moments. But he's sending it out omnidirectionally and affecting the entire universe. There's much more in our sky than just the Andromeda Galaxy. And before we start, this isn't the same as a Flash feat where Barry or Wally runs through time, as Sonic's been able to do that since Sonic CD. It also isn't the same thing as Barry creating Flashpoint, as Flashpoint was the result of a butterfly effect caused through a time boom. Side note, this was actually later stated to have not been the Flash's doing at all, by Wally. So, yeah, keep that in mind as well. Okay, so bringing back the universe ain't no small order. Take the sun for example. 1 second of the sun emits 386 septillion joules of kinetic energy. So, because the sun weighs 994 octillion kilograms, we would have to find the velocity for the sun's weight, and that would be 0.0039 meters per second. But for someone who weighs as much as Sonic, he would have to then up his speed a great deal. So the velocity for Sonic's weight would actually be 114 octillion meters per second, or 71 septillion miles per second. So to multiply that again, to be able to get 1 day of the sun, let's see, there are 86,400 seconds in a day. So the velocity needed for 1 day of the sun would be over 6,900,000 miles per second. And the velocity needed for 1 year of the sun would actually increase to over 2 decillion miles per second. The velocity needed for 5 billion years of the sun, which is the average life force of a sun, would be over 11 tridecillion miles per second. There are roughly 100 million stars like our sun in the galaxy, and they only account for 0.1% of all the stars in our galaxy. So let's multiply our sun by 100 million for all the stars like ours. You will get 1 sexdecillion miles per second, and that is for, like I said, 0.1% of the stars in our galaxy. He's done. I'm just going to leave the calculation there for the suns. The Milky Way and its halo are said to have a combined weight of 1 trillion solar masses. So how do we figure that out? Well, one solar mass is over 1.99 million kilograms. Multiply that by 1 trillion and you'll get 1.9 tridecillion kilograms. So the Milky Way speed is 940,000 miles per hour. Converting that to meters per second, we'll get 420,217 meters per second. Doing the correct math, he is supposed to produce 175 sexdecillion joules of kinetic energy to make this happen. For someone who weighs as much as Sonic, over 10 sexdecillion meters per second. Converting that to miles per second, we would get 6 quindecillion miles per second. That's over 33 tridecillion times faster than light, by the way. Realize something as we move along. For Sonic to give all of these speeds back to the universe in one go would mean he'd have to be running at a speed high enough to be able to give this speed away and not notice that it's leaving his body, or at least for it to not matter that all of this speed is leaving his body. This is speed that he's giving away and actually never getting back, because the universe isn't borrowing it. The sun's gonna be lit forever. The sky, everything is gonna continue moving. So this is speed that it did not have, and it got directly from Sonic. So keep that in mind as well. Moving along, we start getting a little into the universal side of things. So everybody already knows, or if you haven't already known, there are 100 billion solar systems in a galaxy, 100 billion galaxies in a universe. The average galaxy is 10 million solar masses. Now, one solar mass is 1.9 nonillion kilograms, but for the sake of addition, making it easier, we're gonna round that up to 2 nonillion kilograms. Now, that would mean one galaxy's solar mass is 20 nonillion kilograms. The galaxy speed is actually over 299 million meters per second. So, doing the math correctly, we would end up with over 898 sextillion joules of kinetic energy. For someone who weighs as much as Sonic to be able to create that much kinetic energy, he would need to run 51 sextillion meters per second. Translating that to miles per second, that would be over 31 quindecillion miles per second. Now, multiply that by 100 billion for all the galaxies in the known universe, and then you would get over 3 novendecillion miles per second. Never even heard of that number before doing these calculations. I'ma just be real. Okay, so let's journey out as far as we can. I did what I could to get the biggest calculation I could to find the heaviest thing in the universe to lift. And I'm pretty sure there are heavier things out there, but supermassive black holes are what I found. Now, if you don't know about supermassive black holes, they are at the center of just about every galaxy. So let's put supermassive black holes into perspective as far as things to lift and things to give speed back to are concerned. The largest supermassive black holes are said to weigh from millions to billions of solar masses. The largest supermassive black hole discovered was 40 billion solar masses. The lowball point of supermassive black holes, like the ones that weigh the least, come out to weigh hundreds to thousands of solar masses. To find the midpoint of all the supermassive black holes, we would actually find the average between those two. Finding the midpoint of all the mass in supermassive black holes would equal out to 20,100,000 solar masses. Multiplying that by 2 nonillion kilograms, 2 nonillion kilograms times 1 solar mass would actually come out to equal over 40 duodecillion kilograms. So, doing the math right, we find that we're supposed to produce over 1 octodecillion joules of kinetic energy. For someone who weighs as much as Sonic to produce that many joules of kinetic energy, we would have to find his speed. To get his speed, for Sonic to be able to produce over 1 octodecillion joules of kinetic energy, he would then need to up his speed to over 74 septendecillion meters per second. And that's only the speed for one galaxy's supermassive black hole. Multiply the speed by 100 billion for the amount of galaxies and you'll get 7 unbigentillion meters per second. Meters per second translated to miles per second would get you over 4 vigintillion miles per second. That's equal to 24 octodecillion times faster than light. Now, here's the thing. This feat takes so much speed that even if you add all the speeds together, it still doesn't affect the number. That 4.6 vigintillion still stands. So, how fast is Sonic? Well, this is only a small fraction of the speed he's actually able to put out in one setting, so truthfully, we still don't know. How much faster is Sonic than his younger self? Personally, I think he's at least twice as fast and could have actually done this by himself. Because again, classic Sonic can't boost, and boosting makes Sonic leagues faster than just merely doubling his speed. But if you're a purist who doesn't want to make any assumptions, then by all means, have the feet to 2.3 vigintillion per hedgehog and find the difference between the gap in their speed. This is just a very lowball estimate of what I've seen modern Sonic speed to sensibly be. But even at the least lowballed estimate of 2.3 vigintillion, I've still never read of anything in fiction going this fast thus far. You can hate them all you want, but Sonic's speed is far too massive for anyone to downplay. I'm Aries Scarlet, and this has been a long overdue power scaling of something that's said to be unquantifiable. Part of it anyway. Take care, guys.